Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Lucas Engström and in this video we're gonna continue with my throwback to my absolute first impressions of Taiwan, which I had over 10 years ago when I first came here as an exchange student. But in this video we're gonna talk about some of the first impressions which I really did not like. But now, 10 years later, I have come to realize how wrong I was back then, and Taiwan has proven once again that it's one of the most impressive countries in the entire world. Now, I do hope that hearing my own stories and experiences is something that you're interested in. I'm always super nervous when I talk about my own life because I always think that you only come to see my channel to see all these beautiful locations all around Taiwan. And in my head, I always imagine you all to be like, where are the drone shots? Where are the waterfalls? Are we just gonna sit here listening to Lucas talk from his boring studio? This will probably be garbage. Well, you're not wrong. Taiwan and garbage. Two words I promise I never thought I would say in the same sentence. But yet, is there any other country in the world where I guarantee you every single tourist have been both confused, amazed, shocked, and most likely a little bit irritated by the garbage truck than in Taiwan? We're actually gonna focus more on recycling than on garbage in general. But first, I just want to give you a little bit more background info. What happened there? But first, I just want to give you a little bit more background information to why recycling and garbage left such an impression to me 10 years ago. As you may know, I'm from Sweden, where the weather is garbage. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I am from Sweden and the weather is trash. But my point is, I am from Sweden, where recycling and global environmental awareness have played a big part of our society for decades. You may have heard of Greta Thunberg, Swedish. Some people might even take this one step further and refer to me as the most environmental friendly YouTuber we have here in Taiwan, because I like to reuse all my jokes. But what I wanted to share first is that the way we take care of garbage and the recycling process in Sweden is a little bit different compared to here in Taiwan. Do we have garbage trucks in Sweden? Yes, we do. But if you live on the Swedish countryside, they will actually come, drive up to your house and take out all the garbage, so you don't have to do anything to get rid of your garbage once every 2 weeks. However, on the opposite side, when it comes to recycling, the Swedish people do put in a great amount of work separating everything from paper, plastic, metal and glass, except plastic drinking bottles. Not sponsored, but delicious. Because in Sweden we have somewhat of a pawn system, so once you're done with your drink, you can actually return the bottle, you put it back, the kiosk will actually scan the barcode and give you around 2 to 8 NT back, depending on the bottle. So needless to say, we Swedes really do care about all sorts of trash and recyclables, which is why I was completely shocked when I first came to Taiwan 10 years ago and saw this.
What do you mean recycling? Is this from paper, plastic, or bottles? These are not the same thing. We can't just throw these in the same place. Does Taiwan even care about recycling?
So that was all the concerns I had 10 years ago when I first came to Taiwan, when I was an exchange student, and when I thought it was cool to wear a cap back to front. Now I'm 10 years wiser, I'm realizing that I was wrong. Taiwan actually do care a lot about recycling, and I'm also realizing that I'm way too old to proudly admit that I still think it's cool to wear a cap back to front. But here in Taiwan, right next to the trash cans, we do often have these recyclable bins as well, where we can put all kinds of recyclables, which will then be collected, separated, and properly recycled under the supervision of Taiwan Environmental Protection Administration Recycling Fund Management Board, which most likely is the longest name of any managing board, but also the sponsor of today's video. The second thing that made me believe that Taiwan and the Taiwanese people didn't care about recycling at all was an incident involving my ex-girlfriend. Now imagine yourself a normal, super hot and sunny day in Taiwan. We go into 7-Eleven, get ourselves a drink, we want to go to Dam Park, we finish the drink and we see these recycling bins in Dam Park. Takes out her bottle, she's gonna throw it in the recycling bin, but just before she does that, she takes off the cap, she puts it on the ground and she steps on it and squishes it in as tiny little pieces as you possibly can. And just like I know my 6 Swedish subscribers are just in complete shock in front of their monitors right now, I could not believe what she did, and this still really cringe me, and I don't want to look at this bottle anymore. Because if you remember, in Sweden we have this pawn system, we have this kiosk where you return the bottle, and the bottle needs to be intact in order for the kiosk to actually scan your barcode. This is how my parents taught me both about money and environmental awareness. So for me, growing up, this was one of the most important things in the world. An empty plastic bottle was actually more valuable than a full plastic bottle, because, you know, my parents paid for the drink, so that was free. But once it became empty, it then turned into 2NT, which was mine, as long as my only task was to make sure that the plastic bottle did not get squished up like this. And I'm just gonna see if we can save this. This hurts me to see this plastic bottle as shaped. I don't know if this would be Swedish kiosk approved, but it does make my Swedish heart beat a little slower. That day I was in complete shock. I had never seen such a ruthless, cold-hearted, just pure mean act from any human being, because in my head the only logical reason for why you would squish a plastic bottle before throwing it into the recycling bin is just that you don't want anyone who wants to take it up from the garbage recycling it in the stores and to get at least some small reward for it. The only reason for why you would squish a plastic bottle is just any pleasure you would get from not giving them that money. So I almost lost it in the park, thinking like, what the are you doing? But then of course she explained to me that in Taiwan it's all based on weight. So turns out she was not a bad person at all. Now, next up on the list on things I really did not like when I first got here to Taiwan is the amount of trash cans, and these recycling bins are almost non-existent. Instead, in Taiwan, you're supposed to hold on to your garbage until you get home the whole day, and then at night there will be garbage trucks driving around all around the city, where you will then go out and actually throw the garbage yourself into these garbage trucks. And if you think you can just buy any garbage bag and throw it into these garbage trucks, you are heavily mistaken, because you have to first go to a convenience store or a supermarket and buy special, quite pricey garbage bags in order to be allowed to throw the garbage into the garbage trucks. Now, 2010 Lucas, you know, the guy with the back to front cap, he thought that this was just super stupid and surely must mean that people will just go and throw garbage everywhere. It turns out that the Taiwanese government once again was smarter than a Swedish exchange student, because apparently people just ended up throwing all kinds of garbage, so they all ended up being piled up with all sorts of garbage around these cans. So the government then removed most of these cans, and that also meant that all overflooding garbage disappeared as well. And it turns out that having to go down and throw the garbage into the garbage truck yourself is by design. You see, because everyone has to pay for these garbage bags, which by the way isn't actually the cost for the bags themselves, it's the fee or the tax to throw the garbage into the garbage trucks. But the reason behind this, and also why you have to go and actually throw it all in the garbage truck yourself, is to make you aware of how much waste you actually produce and to make everyone eco-conscious, so we try to minimize all the waste as much as possible. If you're a foreigner living in Taiwan, you may not even have paid attention to this. If you instead go with a recyclable alternative, then that's actually completely free to get rid of. Although it has its own time schedule, most of the time, right after the actual garbage truck, there will be another truck, which is the recycling truck. And in here, you can throw all kinds of recyclables 100% free. Pay attention that there's actually 2 different types of trucks that, depending on the day, will alternate. And if you haven't paid attention to this before, then I will leave all the links you possibly need in the description below. But regardless of what you want to get rid of, regardless of what day of the week it is, if you want to get rid of anything that is recyclable, it doesn't cost anything. With that said, please all remember that the best kind of recycling is the one that doesn't even have to take place to begin with. Taiwan did a great job last year by banning plastic straws and also forbidding stores to actually offer plastic bags. And if my sources are correct, then by 2030, Taiwan is planning on banning all kinds of plastic bags and other single-use plastic items. So although Taiwan, once known as the garbage island of the world, has become one of the pioneers with the highest recycling rates in the world, another 10 years from now, we will only use items that can be used for decades after decades and never have to be thrown into the garbage or recycled in the first place. Like a back to front baseball cap. My name is Lucas Engström. Thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already, please support me by subscribing to my channel. Please like this video. Please share this video with someone who cares about recycling. If you want to support me even more, you can also check out my Patreon page, and I will see you in the next one.